Morning, you two. So far, it only shows two in here. Well, we was over on Facebook, and I decided might as well share the love and jump over here on YouTube as well. So, what we're doing this morning is pouring some bait keeper jigs. So, I'm gonna go ahead and get some of these heads twisted off so I can refill my lead pot a little bit. It don't take long. But also then I can do a count and make sure I got enough for this order. So sounds like Mama's up. I hear the whoops. Sometimes these molds got a little bit of a space to where they get a little lead poured out by the eye. You got to take care of that as well. Don't share the love too much. Why not, Bob? That's what we're supposed to do. Shirley T. She retracted her message. She probably was being ornery. Most likely misspelled something. Sit here and twist all these up and do a count real quick, make sure I got enough. But what we're doing is we're pouring some bait keeper heads. So if you can see, it's got a little wire bait keeper on there. So that was one of them. So I don't cut the lead clear off, the head clear off like that, because it'll mark up the head and then you'll have a funny looking spot on your head when you go to do it. But also then you get a flat spot. Morning again, Chad. Thanks for jumping over here as well as being on Facebook. Seems like you jump over here. See, like it just showed that I had 22, and well, they're like, oh, Dave's pouring jigs. Let's just get out of here. They seeing that I was doing something boring, so they jumped off. It's all right. Can't watch everybody. Can't get, 500-600 people in your stuff usually. I lost count. Trying to keep the count. I'll probably have to go back and count when I'm done, just to make sure. Had a few of these jigs that had some cold pour problems when I started pouring this morning. Yeah, you pour lead, you know what I mean. So like when you're doing a wire bait keeper and a hook, if you don't get your lead hot enough on the back side of it, it won't fill the void enough. But this is my morning this morning, sitting here and pouring and twisting heads. I definitely hear somebody moving in around in the house. The bottom two comments are covered up. I have to keep trying to see through the plastic. If y'all would make more comments, I could. I stopped adding people's channel because y'all really can't watch everyone. Yeah, that's true. Then you get people like me that are, pouring lead and just being boring. So, I mean, I pretty much just giving y'all a place to come and harass Bob. Bob's a great feller. He's always in here. So is Chad when they're not busy. Says, what do you do? I'm an electrician. Looks like you're wiring fixtures. Okay, so now what I'm doing is I'm pouring jigs. And then right now I'm taking and cutting that slag cone off, the pour cone. So I go like that and I twist that off. And then, I'll file that head up. But I do a lot of things. I fish. I make hand-tied jigs. But today is pour day. Of course, I also, rebuild old cars. So there's a 64 Rambler sitting there, V8 Rambler hardtop. That was my a car I bought for my son when he was in high school, and he drove it around and got a little trouble hot rodding it here in town. And I put it in the shop and I started to tear it apart, and I was just going to do, fix some of the rust holes that was behind the wheels and, do some other stuff. And I mean, technically when I first bought that car was about folded in half. It's a unibody, so the front cowl support was all rusted out and stuff. So I fixed all that and did all that and got her all hooked up. I missed a comment there. I'm an electrician in Atlantic City, New Jersey, Golden Nugget Casino. See a lot of that. All right, on. But yeah, so I redid that car right there, and I'm working on getting it into epoxy. But it's kind of rough doing some of this stuff because you can't tell because you can't see me. But I'm a paraplegic in a wheelchair, so I do what I can, bud. Try to stay busy. had a heart attack 1.5 years ago and had to die to see what it was like, you know. But I've lost a lot of weight and doing what I'm supposed to do, eating right and all that. Lost 60 pounds so far. It's been a journey within itself. Trying to lose weight in a wheelchair is not an easy task, but I do go to a Christian gym down here in where I live at in Kingman, Kansas. I go to a Christian gym down here, and they have a little, you know, prayer Bible study lesson for about 3 minutes, and but maybe 5, and sometimes 10, depending on how long-winded they get. Then we work out, and then when we're done, they got a set routine that they do, and of course, me being in a wheelchair, they've had to adapt and come up with some things for me to do to interact with everybody and get my workout done. And they work you hard, man. I've been pretty sore lately when I get done, but no, what is that? No pain, no gain. So, but my heart is back right, and I eat good. I don't eat no junk food, no processed food, nothing like that. No sugar, no carbohydrates. Right now, I'm actually been doing the carnivore thing, and I feel better than I've ever felt in my life. So I've always been a big guy, always, 250, 280, around in there. I'm only 5'9", so, that's pretty much fat. And I'm saying that about myself, so don't nobody get freaked out. But today I'm pouring and cleaning heads, and I had to stop pouring for a second so I can clean all this slag off, and then I'll get all this slag cleaned off and thrown up in there. There's Mama. You finally awake?
Why didn't you wake me up?
Well, because I'm talking to these people online. And she's like, why didn't you wake me up? Because you needed to sleep. She's having surgery tomorrow. She's going to have a lumpectomy. Get rid of that breast cancer that's trying to get a hold of her in there, So, if you wouldn't mind, prayers for her tomorrow. It's all in God's hands. Everything will be okay. Like I said, the biggest thing about that is she is allergic to anesthesia, so that's the only thing we're really worried about. But they got things they can give them now, so it doesn't so bad. Hey, Randall. I'm not really seeing everybody. The screen's far enough away that focusing down here and then try to refocus on the screen, I'm probably missing a few people. I do apologize. I'll run this live for a little bit just to have somebody to talk to and not be so bored sitting here pouring jigs. I'm going to take Gregory fishing here after a little bit for a couple hours. I have a brake job. I'm going to do a brake line flush for a feller on his Ford at 1 o'clock. So he's supposed to be here about 1, right after lunch. For those of you new in here, so this is my shop. So my Rambler, my some of my tools over there, my pipe bender, and right there's my, if I hold the camera straight, right there's my pipe bender and stuff. Then over here's my tools, my spare wheelchair. That's my shop chair because I got a new one I'm sitting in. I don't like to mess it up too bad when I'm working on cars. Then all my equipment over there, my welder, the mural I started on my wall, and then of course my lead station, my powder coat and stuff for my jigs. Yeah, Bill, I wish there was too. Yeah, the bad thing about it is they're replacing the one at Sedgwick County Park. They tore the old dock house down, and they're talking about putting back an aluminum one that's heated. Well, if they do that, then if they do that, they'll. The bad thing is probably all the homeless people get in there and start sleeping in there at night because it'll be heated. There's a big homeless population in Wichita, and most of them are okay people, but you got a few of them that have some mental illnesses, so it causes a little bit of issues with some people sometimes. That's my biggest thing is I think if they put a heated dock in Wichita that you'd have a large part of you'd have homeless people fighting to sleep in there at night. But the solution to the heated docks is get some good clothing. Pisca Fun makes some good ice fishing gear suits, and there's Bass Pro Shop makes some good ice fishing setup, for the clothing. Cabela's, Shields, all them places. But I'm partial to the Bass Pro Shop stuff or the Pisca Fun stuff. The problem is that they don't have my size right now on the Pisca Fun because they had a sale, so they were selling out of them. You're from Hutch, Bill? I think you've said that before. Yeah, I do a lot of fishing around, Cheney and Garden Plain and Anthony Lake and Pratt Lake and Lake Afton, and it's you just got to pick and choose. But I try to go on days where it's a little warmer. As long as it's 40 or above, then I'm usually pretty good. When it's down there in the 30s and or even in the 20s, I'm trying to bundle up. But I don't have too much gear. I've lost enough weight now that all my stuff is like so big. I have to go buy new gear. But I'm not wanting to go buy new gear yet because I'm planning on keep losing weight. I have about another 40 pounds I'd like to get rid of. I'd like to be at that 170, 180 mark. But I'm just trying to get enough stuff poured up and for there was a gentleman that was on my Facebook a little while ago, Dalen. He ordered some jigs, so I'm trying to get his order caught up. He's the only standing order I have right now, so and he wanted some specialty stuff that I do, like apparently I pour, but I didn't have on hand what he exactly wanted, so I'm having to do that now. I'll get these powder coated up and finished later. I think I got enough to. Be careful when you're dropping that in that hot lead pot. That stuff will splash out and get you. We'll let that heat back up a little bit, and I'll finish popping the rest of these off of here. I don't have too many left. I wasn't keeping count either. I have to go back and count them. Oh, Naomi was on there. What'd she say? She's probably seeing what I was doing. That's my wife, Naomi. Oh, she wasn't on here. You saying hi because she was walking through. Watching from Baxter Springs, Kansas. Of course you are, Chad. Appreciate you, brother. Crystal, what about James? Yeah, I got James's order coming too. So he wanted some specific hair ties. So that's probably James saying that. Oh, there's Mama. Good morning, Mama. Yeah, my wife, she, like I said, y'all pray for her. She got surgery tomorrow, so keep her in your thoughts. She's checking up on me. Sometimes I think she lets the dogs out just so she can see what I'm doing when she can just come out here and watch what I'm doing. But you know why? They gotta make sure you're not doing nothing you ain't supposed to be doing. I don't have that problem anymore. But I'll get these done up, and then I'll go spend some time with her real quick before we get Gregory up out of bed. Time the yeah, let's probably do this for another 30 minutes or so. By then, Greg will be up and around and dressed, I hope. Spend a little bit of time. I don't think I'm going to take Gregory out to the farm pond until about 9. I need to get some fishing buddies that are a little closer. So, you know, somebody that's willing to want to drive down this way and go fishing with us. I would like to do an event out at the farm pond where I can get, you know, 5 or 6 or even just 2 or 3 people to come and fish with us at our farm pond. You have to have a decent enough truck to get into there, or just park your vehicle on the dirt road and either walk in the 200 yards or ride in my truck the 200 yards to get to the spot. It's soupy ground, so there's times I have to turn the 4-wheel drive on to get through it, and I have mud tires. So I got some knobbies. They're not super aggressive, but they're pretty aggressive. I want to get out there and do some fishing. Like I said, being in a wheelchair, you don't want to get stuck, because if you get stuck and you got to get out and walk out, well, I'm crawling out because my wheelchair ain't going through the muck if my truck can't go through the muck. But I need to make some fishing buddies that are, you know, close. I got Rex. Rex that usually has no problem going fishing with us, but for him to drive over here from Wichita is such a long ways. Of course, Hutch is about the same, so. I had a couple fishing buddies here in Kingman that they just, you know, when you say I want to go fishing at this time, and they call you and say, well, I changed my mind or whatever, that's fine. That's fine. But you do it a few times and I'm going to stop asking. No, I can't go live out the farm pond because I don't have enough service out there to go live. The data stream just ain't. I got enough to call and talk, you know, message and stuff like that. I just don't have enough to go live. It buffers too much. Here in the next year, though, well, I'd love to have you out here, Bob. But the next year or so, T-Mobile is going satellite with their data as well, not just the phone calls. So When they do that, then I'll have a signal everywhere. Because that's who I have for my cell phone service is T-Mobile. I've tried Verizon. They are awful. I tried AT&T. They're awful too. AT&T seems to work better if you have an iPhone, and I don't like iPhones. I like Samsung, so that's what I started with, and that's what I'm used to, and I'm too old to try to figure out a new phone. So I never did count them. I probably should count them, make sure I got enough for this order. So I got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26, 28, 30. 32, 34, 36, 38, 40, 42, 44, 46, 48, 50, 52, 54, 56, 57, 58, 60. Okay, so 62, 64, 66, 68, 70, 72, 74, 76, 70, 78, 80, 82, 84, 86, 88, 90, 92, 94, 95. I need 5 more of those, so we'll do 10 more of them just to make sure I got good quality ones. I need 10 more. But yeah, we'll go fishing. I need to get the take the GoPro and start doing more on the GoPro as well, and do some more edited stuff. We haven't had an edited video for a while, but the fishing this year during the summer was just kind of blah. Start dripping again, are you? People keep messaging me. Naomi got me a smartwatch for Christmas, and now it just keeps going off. So I was gonna say she wasn't barking or nothing. Mom's yelling at dogs.
You can't have her.
That silly dogs act like dogs. We got all female dogs in this house, so you know they act pretty dumb sometimes. We got a Dachshund, a Chihuahua, a Doberman, and my son's Brittany right now. And when you have 4 dogs like that, they get kind of weird when there's no male dog around to kind of keep them controlled. Then we got one of them's in heat, so the only one that's not fixed, well, I guess there's 2 that's not fixed, but the only one of ours that's not fixed is the old Dachshund. She's 16 years old and she just came into heat. It's kind of a weird thing because she's not in full heat, but the other dogs just mess with her, want to hold her down, and They're not even male dogs, they're female dogs, but they still hold her down. I'm like, that's kind of stupid. But she's 16 years old, and we've tried to get her to breed many a times, and she just would not take any males. She wants to back up to all the females, so crazy dogs. All right, you gonna run away drip on me there? Quit that stuff. But as you can tell, doing these one at a time is a pain in the rump, but I did it to myself because I started pouring these bait keeper jigs, and then I advertised that I had bait keeper jigs, and then everybody starts wanting bait keeper jigs to run their plastics. 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. One more of them, and then we'll switch over to size 8. These are 1/16, and we'll go to a 1/8 now. Same hook, same wire, just different hole. I'll turn that up too much, it ran away on me. All right, David. I need to allow them to cool enough to touch them so I don't burn myself. I do appreciate those that are stayed in here, you know. I know, like I said, this ain't always a pleasant thing to watch. Some old dude pouring jig heads, and biggest thing is gives you guys a place to come and hang out for a little bit while I pour and snap heads. I'll file them later. But I did need to do some of these, and now I'll probably pour the rest of them later on today, or at least try to get this next round going pretty good. What I'll do is it takes a lot of energy to bring these lead pots back up to temp. Sometimes it's just easier to let them run for a few hours on low setting. But if I'm going to go in the house for more than an hour, then I usually, maybe 2, I'll leave it running. But if I'm going to be longer than that, I'll shut it off. But I'll come back out here this afternoon and finish pouring all these off and probably get them all filed. It don't take long to file them. I can usually file 100 of them in about 20 minutes, maybe 30. But it takes a long time to do jigs like this. People don't realize that it takes this long. And the bad thing is just to do these 100 jigs is taking me an hour and a half. And it's for 100 jigs, it's only $40. So I'll have, it's the time that you have invested, and I'll have probably, I'll have $15. About $20. I'm only making about double of what I got into, because I'll have $20 into them, then I'm only selling them for 40. I need to go up on my prices because I've been looking around at other people's stuff, and they're getting good money. Like a 5-pack of these bait keeper jigs, they're getting $4 for, and I sell 8 for $4. Well, 8 for $3.50 right now because I haven't marked them up yet, but I'm going to go to 8 jig heads for $3.89. So prices are going up just because materials are going. Oh, I poured that on the wrong. We'll save you. I gotta remember, switch over to size 8 hole, David. Middle hole, middle hole, middle hole. So this mold has 1/8, 3/32, or start off at the beginning. So 1/16, 1/32, 1/8, 3/16, and a quarter. So we're gonna hit this 1/8 hole, and then you, of course, you're gonna runaway drip on me. So we're gonna start running the 1/8 hole, and we'll go for a little bit. Like I said, I want to go spend a little bit of time with Naomi today as well, so she understands I got things I got to do when I got orders. But with her having surgery tomorrow, like I said, I kind of like to spend most of the day with her, so I still got to have Gregory time, because I promised Gregory that I would take him. I got to go out to the farm and get some water. I don't drink the city water, I drink the well water. Hey, Wolves Den. Somebody else in there. Now, the pike at Kingman, I'm going to go get this phone closer so I can see. I haven't heard nothing about the pike biting at Kingman yet. Morning, Chrissy. But the pike at Kingman have been kind of, they're there, but there's not very many of them they put in there. I think they only put in a couple hundred of them. And they're still, when they stuck them in, they were literally 10 inches to a foot long. I'm not for sure the exact size they stuck in, because I didn't see them put in, I just heard tell, so. Usually when I do this, I come out here and pour a couple hundred of them at a time. I didn't get started early enough this morning as what I normally do, because I sat inside the house and drank my coffee. It's like right now my feet are cold. I have my regular work boots on, and I should have put my winter boots on. And doing these bait keeper pins, the cavity on the bait keeper is not an aligned pad, so it has a open square for you to lay that bait keeper, so you got to keep it aligned with the hook, and if you move it wrong, it won't stay where it's supposed to. But these molds are expensive enough, I'm not going to try to get another one. These molds are $150 to $200 a piece for some of them, because these aren't just your regular do-it molds. These are custom CNC molds made with billet aluminum. So the billets are, you pay good money for billet. Like I said, I'm not going to name the brand of these just because I wasn't satisfied with them. Ah, you shallow poured that, dude. I'll cut that off later. I didn't hold up on the lever long enough. So I'll have to go back and cut that lead off of there. Why are you dripping? Stop your dripping. So now you're going to run away drip on me. I think I'm probably going to have to clean this lead pot. It's got enough goobers in the bottom of it. It's probably having issues. And that's just as simple as unplug it and then open the valve and drain all the lead out of it, and then take a little wire brush, clean it up, pull the pin out, which is just undo that screw there and that one there, and then you can pull that set screw that's up on top, that's your plunger, pull that out and clean the pot up. Lead will grow rust. People don't think that it does, but lead will get some corrosion in it. Just sitting in here reacting with the pot that it is in. And I haven't cleaned this one in a couple months, so I usually like to do it every couple months. It's getting to be about time. Then you'll throw in a bunch of lead and try to get it to heat back up. But when I go to pour it out of there, sometimes I'll just get my 8-ounce weight mold and pour a bunch of, don't even put like I have some 8-ounce no rolls. I will just pour the whole thing. I think there's a 6 and an 8 in that mold, but I won't put the pin in there that you pull out to make the hole, and I'll just pour them up and get her filled up. So Chrissy, I don't know if I said something why you were on here or not, but Naomi's having surgery tomorrow. They're going to do a lumpectomy and remove part of her breast. So you can remember to pray for her for that. They're going to get that cancer out of there before it gets carried away. They're like, the doctor said that it's not cancer, but the cell structure is very cancerous, and it could be cancer tomorrow. So she can, and that was a month ago, so she could literally have cancer right now and not know it. But they're going to go ahead and just take it out, and just to be sure. But the biggest problem is she's allergic to anesthesia, so that's our concern with that. But they're going to give her medicines to counteract that, so. She is having this done at a Via Christi, so it's a Christian based hospital. There's a bunch of nuns that walk around that place. Catholic, still Christian, it's just not our faith, so. We're non-denominational Christian. We believe in the Word of God. The Bible is truth. We don't believe in the ritualistic side of it, which you get with a lot of religions, or a lot of Christian sects. You get that whole ritualistic side of it, and we don't do that. that hook was. I'm gonna pour that though. That hook has got a bend to the eye. We'll set that aside for Dave. I need a few of those big ones anyways. I wish you'd quit dripping on me, Mr. Pot. All these drippies down here. Get them thrown in there. Ouch! That one was still hot. I'll pour that in there. Might have to go get me some more pieces I got. Got a 5-gallon bucket of big stuff that I did when I was doing some other stuff. I don't want to put too much in there at once, make it cool down too much. But like I said, I wanted to be up here for about an hour, so we'll go for about another 10 minutes or so and see what happens. You never know. Lead pot may just give out. Or you just keep running over the side like that. If you're quick enough, it won't get you. Well, that's a goofball hook. That hook ain't gonna do much good. It didn't get bent all the way. You get those sometimes though. That's basically 15 cents they just shorted me right there. Because these hooks cost 15 cents a piece. Stop that. Yeah. But I buy them by the box, so that's, you get them cheaper that way. If you just go buy a 50 count of them, you're spending big bucks. But like I said, we've already been live for almost an hour, and I've only poured up like 20 or so of these already, and been messing with trimming and filing. It's a whole process involved. So don't think you're getting rich off of doing jigs. If you're like, oh, well, I'll just start doing jigs, you're not getting rich off of it. Let me tell you, you're barely even making any money. You just kind of do it for the love of, being able to help somebody catch some decent fish, or, get out there and do your thing. Where the money's at is when you're tying, but you're still not making a lot of money when you're tying. So for the most part, it gives me something to do. I hear Rosie going off. She must have seen the cat. Yep. Mom's yelling at her. Rosie does not like the cat that sits on our front porch. Mom keeps feeding it though, so it won't go away. Then you get Rosie barking her full head off at it. Of course, my son, I think my son's supposed to come back to town today. So if it was him, he wouldn't be here for another half an hour because it takes him that long to get from work down there in Wellington to here. So, but he put in his 2 weeks notice at the fire station. He's going to come back to Kingman and work Kingman EMS. He's a paramedic now, so he just has his federal exam or federal certification exam to do, and then he'll be a paramedic in all 50 states. Be able to get a job anywhere. But when you're a paramedic, you can carry, you know, when you're a firefighter, and that's what he does, is he's a firefighter. He did the paramedic though because it does add to the amount that you can make each year, but also he'll be able to carry his medic bag around and be able to do stuff that, you know, the firefighter stuff around here, they do show up on scene to car wrecks and things like that and have to do emergency care. They have the firefighter stations around here are the ones that have the EMS and the ambulances and all that. That pot is being a little ornery today. Normally it doesn't drip like that, but yeah, he has graduation for paramed on next Tuesday, so I think he's actually taking his test. That I can't remember if he said today or if he said Thursday or Tuesday. So either today or Tuesday is he's taking his federal test. So but we're proud of him doing his paramedic thing, firefighter thing, out there saving lives, being part of the good part of the society. Not out there doing dope and raising Cain like some of these kids these days. Or getting a degree in basket weaving, something silly like that. I had even checked the weather today to see what the weather was like. But like I said, I just dropped that pen. I don't even know where it went. Probably in my lap. Another one lost. I don't see it on this. It's probably underneath it. But I told Greg I'd take him out to the farm pond. I want to catch some crappie so we can have crappie for dinner. That's kind of my idea. Either that or I'll clean them and eat them for lunch. Just do some pan fried. I won't put no breading on mine, but I'll get the cornmeal out for Mom and the kids. The boys. I say kids, they're not kids no more, they're grown men. They just act like children. comment down there. Waxworms work great at Marion County heated dock using 2-pound test. Yeah, we use waxworms a lot. I go to the pet store and buy them. They're cheaper there. The ones that Walmart sells are usually all got, went and pupate out where they're turning into beetles or moths, or I don't even know what do the waxworms turn into? Do they turn into moths or do they turn into beetles? I think they turn into beetles, don't they? I've never kept any long enough to find out. Well, I wish you'd quit dripping so much. I think I'm going to have to clean this pot. But yeah, I think I'm going to have to call her quits for now, and I need to go to the restroom and stuff. I've been sitting here for a while now. Go see what Gregory's up to. If he wants to go fishing still this morning, then we'll get ready to go fishing. And if he doesn't, if he's decided he changed his mind, then, and sometimes he doesn't want to go fishing. Sometimes he just wants to play video games or get online and watch some of his YouTube friends. But if he wants to go fishing, I'll take him fishing for a couple hours out the farm pond. We usually stop at the farm and get water as well. I'd rather drink well water than city water. City water kill you. It got all that chlorine and other junk in it. It's not good to drink. I don't care what they say. But like I said, if I had better signal out there at the farm pond, we'd go live. But he may decide he wants to go to the lease. If we go to the lease, then we do have signal out there for the most part. It depends on if it's foggy, cloudy, all that kind of stuff. Depends on where I park the truck behind me, where the, all kinds of variables in it. Also depends on if my phone's got enough charge too. When I'm done here, I'll go throw this phone on the charger. I'm running these bigger jigs. You go through lead faster in your pot, that's for sure. I mean, they are 1/8, so you're, for every 2 jigs of the other that 1/16 you pour, you're using one of these. So, but I need to pour up a bunch of these today as well, not just for the order for Dalen. I need to do quite a bit. I'll probably do up the rest of these bait keepers anyways. I'm gonna run short of bait keepers. Looks like I only got about 100 left. But you guys are propped up on a box that's probably got 300 or 400 1/16 in it. Just got to make sure I got 100 of these for Dalen, and we'll get the rest of them made up when I get to town. And if Gregory, that may be another thing is also my son Timothy wanted some pork fat renderings from over at the butcher because he likes to put pork fat when he processes his deer. I was like, oh, why do you put? I mean, I was like, if it was meant to have pork fat in it, God would have them deer out there mating with pigs. But we know that don't happen. I grind mine to where it's just straight deer. I don't put no fat in it. I'll put fat in it when I cook in the pan. So if I'm gonna cook some deer, some like hamburger for tacos or something, I'll just put some olive oil in there. All right, you runaway dripper, man. Stop that stuff. All right, I think that's where I'm going to stop because that thing just keeps wanting to run away from me. Sometimes you let it cool off and then reheat up, it'll stop being that way. Also, if you just take and kind of work that seat. But every time with these pots, remember to turn it out so when you shut it off, if you go to heat it back up, you just ain't got lead running away on you. I got about 50 there. I'm gonna go ahead and call it because I gotta pour up the rest of these this afternoon. Anyways, I have more to do this afternoon when I'm done working on that truck, but I want to get some things done. So we're down to 3 people here, so I do appreciate each and every one of you. Y'all have a blessed and wonderful day. Go tie something, go do something, go be something. We'll see y'all later.